Valheim is a survival game by Iron Gate Studios and is currently available on Steam as an early access monitor-based title. A VR mod is currently available for Valheim and it recently included the addition of motion controller support, which I was interested to try. In this video I'll give a few of my early impressions on this work in progress mod and show how it runs on a PC with an RTX 3080 and Ryzen 5 5600X CPU. So let's take a look.
Immersed Robot.
Hello everyone, welcome to Immersed Robot. So in this video I'm looking at Valheim and the VR mod, which has been around for a while but it's recently added motion controller support, so I wanted to take a look just to give a few of my first impressions and also show how the game runs as well. So this game has been out for a while, it's in early access on Steam and I've heard numerous good things about this game from various sources, but it is very much an early access game and it follows the same kind of vibe, at least from what I've played so far, to something like The Forest, and I'm very much in the early stages of both of those games, so the similarities might only be on that surface level, I'm not too sure. It's got a very interesting aesthetic, almost of an amalgamation of aesthetics really within this game, and it looks great on a monitor. It also looks good in VR as well. I won't say that I was incredibly impressed with the visuals in virtual reality, but it's fine, and some of the character models and stuff like that, it probably still needs a little bit of work on that side, I would say, but it looks good, and it was great to be in this kind of forest, meadowy kind of environment as well, and there's certain aspects when you look at certain things as well, they do look really incredible in virtual reality. Now this mod is still a work in progress and you can go on Discord and the modders are very active on there as well, and they're constantly updating this with various bug fixes and just making it a little bit less of a janky experience. And at the moment I'm sort of falling on the side of I just want to leave it for a month or two really, just until it's had a few more updates. It's not quite got to that base level for me where I feel like I can enjoy it without at risk of having that slightly janky experience in some ways. And there's been times when I've had to restart it, change settings, restart it again just to carry on playing, and there's a few things like that with it. But don't get me wrong, although there are certainly a few negative points at this moment in time with this mod, it's incredible to play this game in virtual reality, and the addition of motion controller support just sells the experience much more. And just being in that area, and you're playing a more substantial game which has been really designed for monitor and flat based systems, you're actually being able to experience that in virtual reality. And the footage I'm showing here was recorded on a Valve Index, which I used to go in, and again I had to sort of change a few settings, alter things. The mod itself, it does take a few steps to install, but there are some written instructions which I'll put a link to in this video, and I think various people have made instructions on how to install it as well, so you'll follow that, you'll be fine, and it's relatively straightforward. It just takes a few steps, that's all. But I suppose for me, while I can certainly see the potential in it, and I enjoyed my time in there in a way where it was sort of enjoying it for a while, then I'd experience a bug, I'd have to come out and go back in. So I think I can certainly see the potential of this title, and I would love to play it when it's got that. The mod has been developed a little bit more, they've worked through some of the bugs that just causing a little bit of irritation to me at the moment, but again the potential is absolutely there, and the work they've put in already just to get this running in this manner is fantastic, and I would encourage people to give it a try, even if you're like me, perhaps taking a step back until it's had a few more updates. At least give it a try, and I think you'll see just what they've done with this game and how incredible it could be once they've worked through some of these very minor problems. So just getting into the performance side of this game, it is extremely demanding in a VR system. I'm running an RTX 3080 and in the menu system at the beginning I had to drop the settings down to medium and then run my index at 80Hz refresh rate just to maintain a constant 80 frames per second. When I was actually inside the game though, it wasn't able to maintain 80 FPS, and it was really, it was on the CPU side that I was having issues, that more so than the GPU side, and I could have perhaps changed a few of the graphical settings in game to get back up to that 80 frames per second, but it was fluctuating quite dramatically in places, and I wanted to focus on getting a more smooth experience with the settings I currently had. So I wandered around for a while and it was still perfectly playable. Of course you can see the frame rate jumping up and down here here. Again, it's mainly due to the CPU side, but it still felt okay in the headset. And we all know what it's like if you've used FPS VR to analyse the performance in a game, what this kind of fluctuation feels like in the headset. And this isn't any different really, but yeah, you can tell from this it's a very demanding game. Based on the performance I was seeing here in these frame rates, I decided to go into the Steam VR throttling behaviour setting and just lock it down to 40 FPS. So I was running the index at 80 Hz, then I locked the frame rate down to 40 FPS, so it was reprojecting all the time, but giving me a constant 40 FPS within the headset. And of course, it's still running technically at 80 Hz within the Valve index, so it's interpolating those frames and it's still giving you a relatively smooth experience. And it was so solid with that setting that I decided to go up to 90 Hz in the Valve index and then run it at 45 FPS. Not a huge difference, but again, it was running great with these settings as well. So this was a great way to play the game, you know, compromising in some ways, I suppose, based on the demanding nature of the game itself. I did then go in and try upping the refresh rate to 120 Hz in the Valve index just to see if I could maintain that 60 FPS reprojection, but it wasn't possible. It was running below that, and again, it's still sort of really focusing more on the CPU side, which is struggling here quite heavily, so there wasn't much point in experimenting with that any further. I lowered it back down to 90 Hz and was running pretty comfortably for quite a while here, just wandering around and exploring and, you know, crafting things and stuff like that at this 45 locked reprojection. And it was great. It was a great experience to play like that. You do, of course, get the reprojection artifacts, which are just inherent in playing the game in this way, but if you can get past that, then it was still a great experience. I do get comments sometimes on my videos where people would like me to turn off motion smoothing just to give a more accurate nature of what kind of frame rate you can get without the reprojection kicking in. So I did that here briefly, and you can see that I'm sort of bordering on 70 FPS, moving up sometimes to 80 FPS as well, but then again sometimes going down as low as sort of 50 FPS. So it does fluctuate quite heavily. You know, it goes without saying, it's still the CPU which is really holding me back here in this game. And I would imagine that's because of the way the game is rendering the scenery. It's sort of loading in things. You can see here that things are loading in as it calculates where they need to go, and that might be a CPU side thing. I'm not too sure on that. And to finish off, I went back to 90 Hz in the Valve index and locked frame rate to 45 FPS. This gave me the best overall experience, in my opinion anyway. That was what I felt was the preferable way to play this game at the moment. And it was still, you know, I will say it's a fantastic game to play. It feels great when it's functioning in the way you want it to. There are bugs, there are little, you know, janky things that you need to get past to really enjoy it at this stage. But as I mentioned, the modders are working really hard on this, and you can tell from how passionate they are in the Discord and the updates that they bring to it. This is going to be, hopefully very shortly, a fantastic experience from start to finish. But yeah, I recommend people give this a try. All the links will be in the description to this video if you want to try it for yourself. And yeah, let me know what you think. But that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe if you get a moment as well, and I'll see you next time. Please consider picking up my science fiction virtual reality focused novel, The Memory Engine, a light-hearted tongue-in-cheek adventure through the metaverse, available on Amazon Kindle, paperback and as an Audible audiobook. Links in the description to this video.